Sugamas Mangalacharana Shloka. So I should have done it now. Today I have chanted it. Okay, we were discussing avidya. What is vidya? Vidya. Now earlier we discussed adhyasa elaborately. Now in this chapter, vidya swarupa viveka. Together, vidya and avidya we are discussing together by showing the relationship, by showing the difference, the comparison, contrast. What is vidya and what is avidya? Okay. What is vidya and avidya? Now regarding avidya, Bhashyakara has stated clearly. Now one may get a doubt. We have discussed adhyasa. So somebody may ask the question like this. So what about avidya? We have heard about avidya a lot, but you have discussed so much about adhyasa. What about avidya? Then Shankaracharya says, avidya means what? What is to be removed by vidya? Avidya means what? Why are we discussing avidya here? Because Vedanta is teaching vidya, knowledge, as a means of moksha. Vedanta is teaching because athato brahma jignasa. Let us undertake. Just a minute. Now I think. Yes. Let us undertake Atma Vichara, Brahma Vichara. This is what is. Let us undertake Brahma Vichara. This is what is Brahma Sutra is teaching. So if Brahma if Brahma Vichara is the topic of this Brahma Sutra, Vedanta, then with the help of the Vichara we gain knowledge. What does the knowledge do? Knowledge removes avidya. Oh, then which avidya? Avidya means which one you are talking of avidya? Then to this Shankaracharya replied, this adhyasa which we have been discussing from days together, the same adhyasa is avidya and nothing else. So Shankaracharya has clearly stated this adhyasa which we have been discussing, this adhyasa alone is avidya and nothing else. Not only I am telling, even the Panditas say, all Vedantins say. Notice, see the sentence, how beautiful it is. Tametam, this same one. What is this same? Again he specifies it. First he pinpoints this one. He specifies it. Evam lakshanam adhyasam. He says adhyasa. Oh, which adhyasa you mean? We have discussed adhyasa in view of other schools. No, I am not referring to the adhyasa according to the views of other schools. I am referring to the adhyasa which we referred according to Vedanta. Anyonya adhyasa. So this evam lakshanam adhyasam. This evam lakshanam adhyasa of this nature. This particular nature which we have been discussing it, this adhyasa alone is called as avidya by the Vedantins. So clearly he stated. Now, when Shankaracharya himself so clearly pointing out, mentioning the name, naming it, pinpointing it and naming it, and also taking the name of Vedantins, all Vedantins call it as adhyasa. So the other people who have been interpreting that there is adhyasa something other than avidya, there is an avidya is something different and adhyasa is its product. This stand those who have been taking has no basis in Shankara's words, because it goes against the explicit statement of Acharya Shankara's explicit statement doesn't come to rescue. And when Acharya himself openly says, these people are trying to interpret Acharya's statement somewhat differently. Okay. And we have seen in the last class, is today Sugama? I forgot. Maybe Sugama only. Or I have made a mistake. I didn't know. I think hereafter I should fix a day instead of this. I think I may be making mistakes. 29, 30, 31st. Yeah, today is Sugama, correct. I think hereafter I'll fix the day. Sunday, Monday, like this. These days only this. Then I think I will not be confused. So their interpretation, when Bhashyakara is openly telling through his mouth, specifying it, pinpointing it, underlying it, even that statement they put it differently. So Swamiji has refuted, you don't have to interpret Bhashyakara's Acharya statement. Yeah, somebody helped me. Thanks. Today is Sugama only, okay. So Acharya's statement, they try to twist it to suit their own interpretation of avidya, their own concept. So to this we have replied, avidya is neither the material substance nor adhyasa is its product. That's all. This is what in this discussion. Avidya is neither a material substance nor adhyasa is a product of it. Okay? Then what is avidya? Adhyasa is just a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding, mixing of Atma, Anatma in our understanding. See? Mixing is not mixing is neither. First is mixing of Atma, Anatma, not substantially in understanding. Okay? Atma, Anatma is never mixed up. It mixed up in your thinking. See the difference. In your thinking you mix up, not in reality. The things themselves don't get mixed up, don't get exchanged. Atma gets exchanged with Anatma, Anatma gets exchanged with Atma. Atma, Anatma, they exchange their identities and they transfer their qualities. This exchanging of their identity, exchanging identity means mistaking their mutual identity. I'll put it different words. Mutually exchanging their mutual identity and exchanging their qualities, not as an event but as a thinking. In your thinking alone that wrongness is there. The wrongness has not taken place. Atma has not become Anatma, Anatma has not become Atma. Neither Atma's qualities go over to Anatma, nor Anatma's qualities get transferred to Atma. Neither their identities are mistaken, nor their qualities. This mistake is only in your thinking, not in actuality. Okay? They told the mistake is actually taking place, and that is an event, and this event is produced by something material. You see how they go to so unnecessarily, which is neither logical, nor it is found in Anubhava, nor it helps to understand Vedanta better. See, this is neither found in Bhashya, their explanation. Their explanation is neither found in Bhashya, nor it is logical, nor it is in according to our Anubhava, nor it helps to understand Vedanta better. Okay? Yet they insist on that funny explanation, which is too superficial, unnecessary. So not superficial in the sense, superfluous, not superficial, superfluous, that is unnecessary. They say there is a exchange of Atma Anatmas as actualities. We are telling Atma Anatma exchange is in your thinking, not actuality. See the difference? Actually, Atma Anatmas get exchanged in your thinking alone exchanged. You think that they are exchanged, but actually they remain separate. See, when you say if adhyasa is only a thought, if adhyasa is only a thought, it can be corrected easy. It can be corrected by correcting your thinking. If adhyasa is an event, if actually Atma and Atmas get mixed up, then you have to actually correct, actually do something in actuality. It's like if two things are get mixed up, then you have to separate them. You have to separate the very thing. You have to push the Atma to another place and take the Atma to another place. Do you have to take Atma elsewhere? Do you have to pull it? Do you have to pull the Atma as if they are sticking to each other with gum and you have to separate them? Do you have to separate them? Actually, that means is adhyasa an actual? Actual means has a happening. Shankara, when he says that it is only adhyaso is mithya pratyaya, he means it is only a thinking. The misunderstanding is only in terms of thinking, not in terms of actualities. They say in actuality, they say both. One is in thinking as well as in objects. Both the ways it is. Partly adhyasa, they say, the Purvapakshis say, adhyasa is a two things. One is in your misunderstanding there is a Atma Anatma getting mixed up, and the actuality also Atma Anatma get mixed up. And Anatma is a product. Anatma is a product, and Anatma is all, and this product of adhyasa as a wrong knowledge, adhyasa as a wrong object. Wrong objects and wrong knowledge both are produced by some avidya. Now this kind of explanation is neither in Bhashya nor it is logical nor it helps us to understand Vedanta better. In fact, it complicates Vedanta rather than making Vedanta simple, straight and clear. Instead of making Vedanta clearer, it makes Vedanta more complicated and brings certain superfluous, in the sense of certain unnecessary concepts, unnecessary hypothesis, which becomes difficult for a sadhaka to understand. Anatma is a substance, is produced by some causal avidya. So all this is a confusion. Okay, we have discussed it and we'll discuss more again after this. So avidya is clearly vidya and another point here. Here their explanations have been refuted. One reason, it is against Bhashya. This explanation is unnecessary. It is against Anubhava. One more important reason which Swamiji gave is, what can Jnanam refute it? This is also important. See the nature of knowledge. Okay? First look at the nature of knowledge. Any knowledge. See, look at the nature of knowledge. What does any knowledge do? Does knowledge really separate the objects which are mixed up? Does it really separate the objects? Objects knowledge doesn't touch. Knowledge simply illumines. Knowledge doesn't bring about any change. Knowledge does not bring about any change materially. Okay. Materially, physically it doesn't bring about any change. Physically or materially, both same. They say if Anatma is a product, the product is imposed on Atma, there it is, physically something has come up and that something has to be thrown out. Here according to them, then according to Shankara, Physically nothing happens. Atma remains always Advitiyam Brahma. Atma never changes. Atma ever remains Atma, Anatma remains Kalpita. Anatma is Mithya, doesn't exist at all. So it is only in your misunderstanding you think that there is such thing called Anatma. There is such thing called Anatma, and that Anatma is sticking to the Atma. Exchanged with Atma in your thinking only, not in actuality, not physically. See, this is Shankaracharya specifically says, misunderstanding is in terms of understanding, not in terms of actuality. Physically objecting, neither a thing is produced nor the produced thing is imposed on Atma. Imposition, adhyasa, is not an objective adhyasa. Adhyasa is not an objective adhyasa. Adhyasa is only a, how to say that, understanding adhyasa. It is not a what you say, superimposition of an object. It is a superimposition of understanding. See, it is not an objective adhyasa, it is only jnana adhyasa. Adhyasa in terms of knowledge. Adhyasa in terms of thinking, not an objective adhyasa. Thought adhyasa, or we have to say thought adhyasa, not object, thinking adhyasa, not an objective adhyasa. I think I don't know how to translate, because the Sanskrit words are difficult to be translated. So I am trying to put it different words, because the idea has to come accurately. So it is difficult anyway. So it is not arthadhyasa but jnanadhyasa. In one word it becomes very clear in Sanskrit. It is adhyasa in terms of jnanam. It is not adhyasa in terms of object. It's not objective adhyasa. It is only thought. In terms of thought, in reality, in actuality, nothing takes place. In actuality, there is no adhyasa. Atma remains ever Atma. Atma remains Satchidanandam Advitiyam even now. Ever there is Advitiya Atma. In Atma standpoint, there is no adhyasa. Adhyasa is only in terms of thinking. This is what Shankaracharya has been taking pains to explain his point. Swamiji always says, Acharya doesn't leave any effort. He takes extra pain to make his point clear. Always Acharya is for clarity. He doesn't leave anything ambiguous. He doesn't leave anything unclear, vaguely, superficially. He doesn't touch. Wherever he touches it, pinpoints it, clearly has it. Yet it is the commentators dividing into two schools. Though they divided into two schools, both the schools make the same mistake slightly differently, but the mistake is same. Both of them take, it is an objective adhyasa, it is a objective misunderstanding, not understanding wise misunderstanding. Misunderstanding in terms of thinking alone. They say it is more than the misunderstanding is more than a thinking, it is also objective misunderstanding. And this Shankaracharya doesn't accept it, because avidya is neither a cause nor adhyasa is a product. Okay, in short, avidya is not a material cause nor adhyasa is its product. Adhyasa is a misunderstanding, one. It is not an objective misunderstanding but a misunderstanding in terms of knowledge. Second is, it is not a product of anything. All product, cause and effect, everything is presupposes adhyasa. Everything presupposing misunderstanding alone, the cause and effect and the world and everything, jiva and everything presupposes the primary root misunderstanding. And second thing is, it is not a product because it is instinctively found. It has no beginning. It is not produced. It is so naturally, instinctively found in everybody. So naturally, instinctively, there is a misunderstanding. In that misunderstanding, everything else appears. all the appearance, all experiences, the objectivity, the relations. Objectivity means object, appearance of an object, and the relationship of time, temporal relation, spatial relation, cause and effect relation, subject-object relation, all kinds of relations presuppose the basic adhyasa, essential adhyasa, and that adhyasa is instinctive, and this adhyasa is only in terms of thinking, not in terms of object. Objectively no change. Physically nothing changes, nothing has changed so far. It is only your mind thinks without any actual change in the reality. Okay? I think I am repeating until sometimes you may feel bored also. But the point I have to make it clear. Therefore, Papa Bhashyakara also takes pain to explain. And Sachidananda Swamiji, the patience of Sachidananda Swamiji, you should see, each point he brings out the subtle difference. He contrasts it, compares it, shows again and again, so that your misunderstanding should not be there. There should be very, very clear. Therefore, Vidya, he explained what is adhyasa. Now in this chapter, Vidya, he puts them together side by side in contrast, to show the contrast. So the Purvapakshis are the later schools. Purvapakshim in the sense, the Vedantins, the later Vedantins who came later Vedantins who came after Shankara, they have taken a different stand, and that stand has a support of neither Anubhava, nor logic, nor Bhashyakara. Neither Bhashyakara forms a basis, supports them, nor logic supports them, nor Anubhava supports them, nor it makes more convenient, more clearer, nor it makes Vedanta understand better. In fact, it makes Vedanta more complicated. And now here, why adhyasa alone is called avidya? Why not something else? Because simple reason is vidya virodhitva. It is opposite to vidya and it is removed by vidya. Simple two reasons. This much we discussed in our previous classes. So it is opposite to vidya. Opposite to vidya means what? When there is adhyasa, you miss knowledge. When you have knowledge, you have no misunderstanding. Opposite means what? When one is, the other is not. When you have the one, other cannot coexist with it. That's what it means. Avidya and vidya cannot coexist. That's what opposition means. Vidya and avidya cannot coexist. When you have avidya, when you have misunderstanding, you have no right understanding of Atma. You have no right understanding of Atma. When you have right understanding of Atma, you have no avidya and samsara due to avidya. All the samsara which springs from avidya doesn't exist in your knowledge because the one is opposite to other. And second thing is, what vidya can remove adhyasa alone. Adhyasa alone is vidya can remove avidya means what? Vidya's target is main avidya, adhyasa alone. See, this is also important point to understand. The knowledge targets adhyasa alone. They say knowledge doesn't target adhyasa. Knowledge targets the material avidya, which is the cause of adhyasa. They say Jnanam doesn't touch adhyasa. Adhyasa continues even after Jnanam. Therefore, two things they say. Adhyasa continues even after Jnanam, or another thing they say, adhyasa can go away without knowledge also. Without Jnanam, adhyasa can go away. See how they talk. Adhyasa can go away without knowledge. Therefore, the purpose of knowledge is not to remove adhyasa, but to remove the material avidya, which is the cause of adhyasa. But here Swamiji says, Vidya, avidya, opposite to each other, and Vidya removes which one it targets. Vidya removes, no doubt. Which one? Which kind of avidya it removes? What is its main target? Adhyasa is its main target. Vidya's main target is adhyasa alone. From this you understand the nature of Vidya. See, the nature of Vidya can be understood. This is what we will explain anyway. Now, today's portion, now why explain? Let me see Swamiji's explanation, and through Swamiji's explanation, I will give you my clarification. Why I need not give now. Now, Vidya viroditvat tannivartyatvacha adhyasameva avidyam manyante ityuktam. Vidya virodhitvat. One is it is opposite to Vidya, and Vidya nivartyatvat. It goes away by knowledge. Adhyasameva avidya iti manyante. Therefore, they call adhyasa alone is avidya. One reason, it is opposite to Vidya. Second reason, it is the targeted by Vidya. Vidya can correct it, remove it only with adhyasa and not any other thing. If it were material avidya, it won't remove. Because see the nature of Vidya. The nature of Vidya, nature of knowledge is not to remove, not make any changes, not modify. Does knowledge, you see any knowledge, you see the simple light. Does light destroy anything? Okay, light simply illumines. Okay, light simply illumines. Similarly, knowledge simply, of course, light may do little bit of kriya also, we leave them. Okay, example is limited. But knowledge can only illumine, doesn't bring about change. Knowledge doesn't bring about any change. Knowledge doesn't modify. Knowledge doesn't physically separate or physically join. That means a physical effect, physical change, knowledge doesn't bring about. Knowledge simply illumines. Okay, simply points out, simply makes you to understand. It doesn't bring about a physical change. Therefore, knowledge targets adhyasa. Why? Adhyasa is also in terms of understanding. It is a wrong in terms of understanding. Knowledge corrects the wrongness in understanding, not a physical change, not modifying, not producing, not throwing away, not moving the things. It doesn't move the thing, doesn't modify the thing. Okay? Jnanam neither modifies the thing nor moves the things away or near. It only just points out. It illumines the thing. Therefore, knowledge targets adhyasa. Adhyasa is the target of knowledge. They say no, knowledge, this is also their standpoint. Knowledge doesn't target adhyasa. Adhyasa being a product, it may go away, but knowledge targets Moola Vidya, material adhyasa. Material avidya, sorry. Knowledge targets material avidya. So, material avidya, it targets it. When it destroys material avidya, adhyasa being its product may go away on its own. As a secondary effect, as a side effect. Adhyasa may go away as a side effect, but Jnanam targets material avidya. See their difference. Here Swamiji says, Vidya targets adhyasa because it only illumines. Now the next point. Now when we discuss the Vidya Swarupam, it becomes clear further. Okay? It targets means how? How does it target? How? It becomes clear as Shankaracharya himself says the next sentence, and Swamiji also explains. It becomes clear to you. Now, Kappunarasau Vidya Tatraha Tad Vivekena Cha Vastu Swarupa Avadharanam Vidyam Ahuhu. See. What is Vidya? She is claiming. Tad Vivekena. When there is a mixing in understanding, that separation in understanding. Viveka Viveka is discriminating, distinguishing, not physically, because it is not a physical mixing up. If it were a physical mixing up, it was a material mixing up, then you require an action of separation. Separation is not an action. Separation is an understanding. Okay? If it were physical mixing, then physical separation through an action was required. But here Shankaracharya says, Tad Vivekena. Adhyasa is misunderstanding, taking one thing for other, mutually misunderstanding. Taking Atma as Anatma and Anatma as Atma. If this mixing up in understanding, in terms of understanding, is avidya, then this mixing up is targeted by vidya. What does it do? It separates in terms of your understanding. In your understanding, it separates. Okay. In understanding, it separates, not physically, because jnanam can only illuminate, doesn't do anything. It doesn't bring about any physical change. Physical movement it doesn't do. It only corrects your understanding, because knowledge is only in terms of knowledge alone, thinking alone. Therefore, tad vivekena cha vastu swarupa avadharanam vidyam ahuhu. Tad vivekena, by doing viveka, vastu swarupa avadharanam, determining the nature of the vastu. Vastu means reality. Determining the nature of reality. How do you determine? Is it, now they say, first you do viveka and later you determine. They make it 2 steps. See, viveka itself is determining the nature of Atma, because Atma is not an object that you can determine. Note this. Atma is not an object that you ascertain its nature. Atma is self-shining. So therefore, the Viveka Jnanam itself is determination. Okay? Not only here, elsewhere, everywhere Bhashakara says repeatedly, and Swamiji also touches the same point. Okay, Tad Vivekena Vastu Swarupa Avadharanam. Andre, the Vastu Swarupa Avadharanam, determination or ascertaining, Swarupa, the real nature of Vastu, of the reality. Nature of the reality is determined. How do you determine? Not by objectifying, by separating the mixing up. There is a mixing up in terms of understanding. That mixing up is broken. That means mixing up is separated. Mixing up is only in terms of understanding, not it. So in your understanding alone, that means see the Atma as Atma and Anatma as Anatma. Now what is mixing up? Seeing Atma as Anatma, Anatma as Atma. Then what is Viveka? Atma as Atma and Anatma as Anatma. That's all. This is simply Jnanam. Okay. Therefore, Tad Vivekena. Now the sentences I have to explain. Then I'll explain more after explaining the word meaning. Tad Vivekena. So tasyaha avidyayaha adhyasa lakshanayaha vivekena vastu swarupasya avadharanam yathavad avadharanam nischayam. Avadharanam nischaya. Nischaya, ascertainment, determination. A clear perception. Now tad vivekena is a word. Avidyayaha sakashad viveko nama. Viveka means what? Tad vaiparityena vibhajya jnanam. What is one way, you do it totally oppositely. You mix it up, now you separate them. That is, you do the opposite thing. By doing the opposite thing, vibhajya jnanam, in contrast with that adhyasa, what you do is, in adhyasa, there was mixing up. In jnanam, what happens? In contrast with adhyasa, vibhajya jnanam, understanding Atma as Atma, Anatma as Anatma. In the understanding of Atma, you don't mix Anatma. In the understanding of Anatma, you don't mix up Atma. Because we have already done that. We mixed it. And that mixing, you remove it. And you understand the Atma as Atma alone. That is called understanding clearly. Atma as Atma alone. How we will see more later. Tasyaah avidyayaah vivekah. Tad viveka is a word. Tad viveka, what is that tat? Two ways Swamiji interprets. Tad viveka means what? Nedam samyajnanam iti vivechanam. Tad viveka means understanding different. Tad viveka means as separate from it. One is as separate from it, as different from it, as different from avidya. Vidya is understood as different from avidya. This is one interpretation. See, tad vivekah nedam samyam jnanamiti vivekam. Avidya is not a right understanding, therefore understanding it differently. One is, there was one way of understanding, there is another way of understanding, a different way of understanding. So, tad viveka andre one interpretation is understanding it differently is one interpretation. Second interpretation is differentiating between these two. Between those two. Tad viveka means what? Differentiating between these two. Swamiji very minutely explains. Okay. Tad viveka, when you say, what is tat? Viveka is okay. Tat means what? Tat is avidya. Tad viveka means what? Different from the avidya. Avidya is a one way of understanding. Now you have a different way of understanding. So tad vivekena means you get a knowledge by understanding it in a different way. In contrast to the previous understanding, this is tad vivekena is one interpretation. Both the interpretations are equal. Another thing is tad viveka means according to first interpretation, tat means avidya. Tad vivekena, different from avidya, understanding differently, that is vidya. Now in the second interpretation, tat means tayoho, he is taking as a dvivachanam. Tat, in the second interpretation, tat means atmanatma. Okay? In second interpretation, tat means those two. Tat means those two means atmanatma. Tayor vivekaha, distinguishing between atma and atma. Tad viveka. Tad viveka is one interpretation. Again I repeat it. One interpretation is understanding it differently. In the first interpretation, tat means avidya. In second interpretation, tat means they too. Okay. In first interpretation, tat means that is avidya. In second interpretation, tat means they too. Now with the viveka, how do you explain? In first interpretation, tad viveka, tat is avidya, there is a one way of understanding. Tad viveka, understanding it differently. There is a one way of understanding, there is another way of understanding. In contrast with it, first interpretation is tat means one way of understanding and different from it in a second way of understanding. And another interpretation, tat means they too. Tayor vivekaha, differentiating between these two atma and atma. Is the only way of explaining both of them in the same. Okay, it's a way of interpretation. How our traditionally they don't leave everything vaguely. Every point, even the Vyakarana, you can see them in the Vyakarana. That means in grammar, in usage of the word, in logic and Anubhava. All the three, they are perfect. This is how Shankaracharya does it. And our later, in traditional, all over, in all our darshanas, they do like that. They are very particular about using the right word and right way of explaining. This shows the clarity, very perfect thinking, clarity of thinking of our gurus and acharyas. See them. Tad vivekena vastu swarupavadharanam. Tad viveka, different from that and a different way, different from the previous way of understanding, a different way of understanding, an understanding different from the previous way of understanding. So tat means one way of understanding, vivekena, different from that way of understanding is one meaning. Second meaning, tat viveka means tayor viveka, distinguishing between these atma, anatma. Okay, now we'll proceed it. Since I am taking up a book, now I have to do a little technical explanation also. Okay. So, tayor vivekaha, tad vivekaha, prakrutayoh, dharma dharmanoh, buddhistayoh. Between those two means what? Between atma and anatma. Even there are two again. Atma, anatma, when they are mixed up in terms of understanding, what are the two things are mixed up? Their identities are mixed up. Atma appears as anatma. Anatma is taken as atma in their identities and their properties. Anatma's property as if belonging to atma. Atma's property as if belonging to atma. Okay. Atyanta viviktayoh, actually they are never mixed up. Actually they are different. Atyanta viviktayoh means what? Actually they are different, they are never mixed up. Atyanta viviktayoh should be understood as in reality they are never mixed up. Only in your thinking alone they are mixed up. See, this is the most important. In our thinking we feel mixed up, but in reality no mixing up. Reality Atma is Atma. Atma is our Shuddha. Atma doesn't experience any samsara. Atma never becomes Jiva. Atma never suffers from samsara. It is an understanding of Atma suffers misunderstanding. How beautiful it is. It is in understanding alone, not in the Atma. Atma is ever free from moksha, never free from samsara. It is ever moksha, mukta alone. It is always, that's why Atma's very nature is moksha. Nobody can bring about samsara. Samsara is only in your mind. Atma doesn't suffer. Atma is always mukta. Atma is not suffering. Atma is never, this is what people misunderstand. Atma doesn't suffer any samsara. Atma is always free. In its very nature it is free. Then where is the samsara? You think that there is samsara. That's all. In anisikeyalle, nimma anukovatanlone adhyasa. Anisikeyalle adhyasa. In your thinking alone there is an adhyasa. You think you are bound. That's all. You think, not that you are bound. Actually you are already free. You only think. This is beauty. This is what we need to understand. Prakrutayo, therefore, atyanta prakrutayor dharma dharminoh buddhistatva tat shabdena paramarsha kriyate atyanta viviktayor dharma dharminoh itaretara vivekena hi adhyaso bhavati tyuktam. Actually, they are totally, neither they are mixed, nor is it possible to ever mix them. Because they are totally unrelated. Atma is Atma and Anatma is just non-existent. Atma alone exists and Anatma doesn't exist. Then where is the question of mixing up is impossible thing. Because Atma by its very nature is pure consciousness. It doesn't have anything else. Like light, no darkness can ever exist in the sun. Can you imagine darkness in the sun? You ask, if you want, you ask the sun, hey, darkness, do you know darkness? Sun says, what is it? Who is that? Hey, who is that? Don't say that, who is that? Darkness is there. Where is it? How is it? What does it mean? Oh, darkness means, you have to explain. See, darkness means absence of light. What does it mean? Again, sun asks, absence of light? There is no such thing called absence of light. Can you imagine absence of yourself? How can be that? How can that be? How can you imagine absence of yourself? Can you imagine absence of yourself? You are you. Even to think of absence, you should be present. Then how can you imagine the absence of your presence? That's ridiculous. That doesn't exist. Even to think you are present again. That's all. Therefore, light can never think of darkness. Sun can never think of darkness. Such a thing doesn't exist for light. Okay, therefore from the to the pure consciousness there is nothing, no such thing called anatma. Atyanta viviktayo. This atyanta vivikta is a beautiful word. Atyanta viviktayo actually doesn't exist, nothing other than atma. In your thinking alone, you feel that it is mixed up. Okay. Tad viparyayena tayor anyonya vivekena satyanrutayo. Complete agalla. I thought I could finish this paragraph and tomorrow more discussion, more deeper, much more subtler discussions are there. Oh, earlier we discussed avidya for few days, like that it is going to be another 10 days, maybe another 15 days or 1 month, we don't know. Again regarding that Purvapakshas, Swamiji is going to discuss for another 1 month. Because there is an elaborate discussions about them. So before that, this Vastu Swarupam Swarupa Viveka Tad Viviktayoh Dharmadharminoh Itaretara Avivekena Adhyaso Bhavati. Itarekatara Aviveka, inability to distinguish, non-distinguishing, because in your mind, non-distinguishing, absence of discrimination, then you feel they are mixed up. Due to lack of discrimination, you find they are mixed up. You think they are mixed up. The thinking alone is the culprit. The thought alone is the culprit, not the actuality. Actuality, there was never a samsara. You think there is a thought of samsara, there is no actual samsara. There is a thought of jivahood, there is no actual jiva. Actually, there is only Satchidananda Swarupam Brahma. Okay. Tad viparyayena tayor anyonya vivekena satyanruta buddhi gocharatva pratipatya vastu swarupasya nirdharanam vidyam ahuhu. How? This satyanruta, viveka between not two realities. One is real, another is mithya. Means what? One is real, another is mithya. Satyanrutayoh, misunderstanding. Means what? The anruta, the anatma is anrutam, anatma is mithya, and misunderstanding is mithya. Why these two mithyas? Anatma is mithya, its misunderstanding is mithya. That means anatma comes in the wake of misunderstanding. Anatma itself doesn't exist. Okay, see this point. This Vyakhyanakaras made a lot of complication. I tell you how much Swamiji helped me. His adhyasa, his books alone helped me. Oh, because his Sanskrit is beautiful, his explanation is so clear. I think anybody, you just study, learn. If you know Sanskrit, you can read Adhyasa Bhashya yourself. Every point he clears. You don't need any explanation of person like me. I don't know, you are not paying attention. If you read directly Adhyasa Bhashya, Sugama, you don't need to attend my classes. He will explain everything there itself. It's very clear. So, Satyanrutayoh. Satyan, because this is how I understood. It is only Swamiji alone. I have not met him personally, but his books alone is my guru and made every point clear through his books alone. One twist, a slight turning our Prabhuddhananda Swamiji gave, just one turning point, that's all. Remaining, I couldn't stay much with him. Only just one turning point he gave it. Remaining, with the help of his books alone, I understood. Just a small turning, a little turning he gave it. Remaining, his books alone, Swamiji's books alone helped me. So, I think anybody can understand if you are really open, very, very open. Listen to his sentence by sentence, carefully, patiently. Don't hurry up. Don't jump to conclusion. Don't impose your misunderstanding in the mind. That is prejudice. Prejudice means you imagine. Don't imagine. Just to pay attention. One is patience. Another is simply watch. Watch. Don't impose. Don't imagine. Just to watch. Patience. One is patience. Don't jump to conclusion. Second is don't have a preconceived idea. Don't have anything. Just to watch. See, silently watch without any imagination. Just to pay attention. the thing itself becomes clear on its own. Simply pay attention. Don't imagine. But we cannot resist our imagination. That is the biggest problem. Our mind tends to imagine. Mind tends to preconceived notion. That means it already has a notion and looks at it. Just to have patiently watch. Just to pay attention. Allow the thing, allow Swamiji to point out. He himself points out. Thing becomes clear. Why do you have to worry so much? Requires a lot of patience, lot of Shraddha and Bhakti. This is what means Shraddha and Bhakti. Okay, Satyanrutayoh. Anyway, today I won't be able to complete. We will take it in the next class. Today I cover as much as I can. So, Tad Viparyayena Tayor Anyonya Vivekena, by doing Viveka, what that Satyanruta Buddhi Gocharatvam, Satya Buddhi. See, the mixing up is not between Satya and Mithya. See, Swamiji how beautifully says, the mixing up is not between Satya Vastu and Mithya Vastu. Mithya is not a Vastu. See, Satyam is Vastu. Vastu means an entity. Satyam Brahma is a Vastu. Mithya is not a Vastu. Then what is this mixing up? Satya Anruta Buddhi. See how Swamiji uses a word beautiful. Satya Buddhi, Anruta Buddhi. Satya is a Buddhi. Buddhi means a thought. Mithya is also a thought. That is, Anatma is not a Vastu. Anatma is only a thought. Satyam, you have a thought about Satyam. See, you have a thought about Satyam. About Mithya, Mithya is only thought. You have no thought about Mithya. Don't think like that. See, there is a difference. Regarding Satyam, you have a thought about Satyam. Okay? There is Satyam and you have a thought about Satyam. There is Brahma, there is consciousness, there is self-existing consciousness, you have a thought about Satyam. Okay. Then what about Mithya? You can't say there is a thought about Mithya. No. Thought itself is a Mithya. There is a thought about Mithya. The Mithya is also only in a thought. See, two things. There is a thought about Mithya, no doubt. There is a thought about Mithya. But that Mithya exists only in thought, not that it exists and then you have a thought about it. Regarding Satyam, it exists and you have a thought about it. Okay? Satyam exists. You have a thought about that existence. But regarding Mithya, Mithya itself is a thought. Mithya itself is a thought, and in the wake of the thought alone you find it. You find it only in the wake of the thought, not that Mithya exists and later you have a thought about it. Okay? The very Mithya, the presence of Mithya is only in the wake of thought. Only in the wake of a thought you feel as if it is there. Okay? Mithya is only in the wake of a thought. It doesn't exist independent of thought. Okay? Therefore, Satyanruta Buddhi, see Swamiji says Satyanruta Buddhi. Satyanruta Buddhi Gocharatva Pratipatya Vastu Swarupa Nirdharanam Vidyam Ahuhoiti Yojaniyam. Therefore, Satya Buddhi, Mithya Buddhi. Okay? There is a Satya Buddhi and Mithya Buddhi. This Buddhi, there is a Satya Buddhi and a Mithya Buddhi. And these two mixing up also. And take that Mithya Buddhi as connected to Satyam. How? Oh, this needs a big discussion. But anyway, one sentence I'll say and leave it. We'll discuss in the next class. When you have consciousness, you think consciousness is objectified. That means you have an image of consciousness. You have a thought about the consciousness. You think Atma, you have a notion about Atma. Atma, which is pure consciousness, which is beyond thought, you entertain a notion about Atma. You have an image about Atma as I. You think of Atma as an I, that is Adhyasa. Atma is not available for I thought, but you refer to Atma through I thought, that is Adhyasa. Okay? That is mixing up Anatma with Atma. Mixing up means what? What is Anatma? A thought, an object of thought. Atma is not an object of thought, but you refer to Atma as an object of I thought. So making it as an object of thought is mixing up anatma. Now, what is how atma is mixed up with anatma? Anatma is only in terms of thought. And how do you mix up it? You mix up consciousness into it. That means you take anatma is knower of the world. What is anatma? Thought is anatma. I thought is anatma. Mind is anatma. You think mind is knowing. You think sense organs are knowing. Mind is knowing. I thought is knowing. Knowers are three. You think sense organs are knowing. Mind is knowing. And aham thought is knowing. I thought is knowing. These three are actually anatma only. But you mix up the consciousness with them and you think that mind is knowing the world. Sense organs are. That means you impose consciousness in the sense organs. You impose consciousness in the mind. You impose consciousness in the aham thought. Anyway, as I told you, this point I touched. How this mixing up. Okay. It is only a false mixing up, and how Vidya removes it. Okay. This point I have to touch it. This is a big topic. So this is not enough. It will take 1 hour. Only in the next session I will be able to discuss. But briefly I stated. Atma and Atma mixing up means, I just say and conclude it. So consciousness is taken as an object of consciousness. This is mixing up anatma to atma. Okay? Mixing up anatma with atma means consciousness, that is atma, taken as an object of consciousness. Okay? Object of thought. Second is, now how mixing up atma with anatma? Mixing up consciousness with anatma. Anatma is a thought. Mixing up consciousness with it, that means taking a thought as a knower. Sense organs as, taking the sense organs as knower. Taking the mind as the knower. Taking the I thought as a knower. You think mind is knowing. Mind is a thought. But you impose consciousness to the mind. And you think mind is knowing. So here you are mixing up consciousness to the thought. See, now you say Atmanatma Adhyasa means taking consciousness as an object of consciousness. This is Anatma Adhyasa. Now Atma Adhyasa means taking mind as a knower of the world, taking the I thought as a knower of the world. In these things there is an Atmanatma Adhyasa. Okay? How this is to be separated, how this is Adhyasa further, I hope it is understood. But anyway, in the next class I will again repeat it and again explain it. So until then, holiday. Om Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat. I hope I have not confused you. Anyway, I'll explain this last point. That's why I generally go slowly and repeat. If I say briefly, it gives you this last point. I just quickly I told. So it may not be clear to you what I told quickly towards the end. That point I'll repeat it and clarify further. Om.